In the beginning, the state of consciousness was tedious for the weak ego consciousness, and sleep was a blessing, for it succumbed to the revelation of Ouroboric incest and returned to the cycle. Now returning to the cycle becomes more and more difficult. In the first light of dawn of ego consciousness, the primal Ouroboros turns to darkness and night. The flow of time and the problem of death become the dominant sensation of life. Emptiness, death, and sorrow must exist, since they are one side of the Ouroboros, as the other side emphasizes birth and life. The wheel of life and death is a symbol of the sorrow that rules the maturing ego. In the third stage, the ego's nucleus begins to gain a bit of autonomy from the Ouroboros. The transitional and infantile stages are already behind us, and even though the maturing ego consciousness does not confront the Ouroboros as a child, it still has not overcome its dominance. The development of the ego goes hand in hand with the plastic representation of objects to which it is connected, and the maternal Ouroboros takes the form of the formidable mother. The Ouroboric nature of the Divine Mother is present whenever she is worshipped in an androgynous form, such as a goddess with a beard from Cyprus. A goddess with a beard or with a male sex organ betrays her Ouroboric character in the lack of separation between man and woman. Only later, when she is replaced by a single-sex figure, because this combination of male and female represents the primary stage from which the opposites, the parents of the world, will later separate. The infantile ego consciousness is always aware of its connection with the matrix from which it grew and gradually becomes a system in itself, and the ego that becomes self-aware grows as the center of consciousness. Even before ego consciousness, there is consciousness. Consciousness as there is in the infant before the appearance of ego consciousness. But only when ego consciousness separates itself from the unconscious does the transitional stage end, and only then can a conscious system operating in its own powers develop. This connection between the conscious and the unconscious is presented in the mythology of the formidable mother and her relationship to her lover son. Classic examples are Osiris from Egypt, Tammuz from Mesopotamia, Adonis from Lebanon, and so on. They are born of their mothers, and they are also her lovers. They are loved, slaughtered, hunted, and buried by her, and then reborn through her. An Ouroboric revelation of incest. The figure of the lover boy comes after the womb and the child. By distinguishing himself from the unconscious and strengthening his masculinity, he becomes a partner of the unconscious mother. He is her lover and her son, but he is still not strong enough to confront her. He succumbs to her, and she tears him apart. The beloved mother becomes the death goddess. She still plays him in cat and mouse, and is even greater than him even in his rebirth. The God who died to rise to life is connected to the fertility of the earth and vegetation. The dominion of Mother Earth is clear, and the independence of the child barely exists. The mother precedes the son. Femininity comes first, while masculinity appears later as a secondary phenomenon. The woman comes first, but the man becomes. The first given is the earth, the basic maternal matter. Creation comes from the womb, and only then are the sexes separated, only then does the male form become existent. The man and the woman do not appear together and are not of the same order. The woman is primary, and the man is born from her. He is part of the visible world that is constantly changing, and he only exists in a form that can die. The woman exists and remains existent, unchanging. In contrast, the man evolves and is prone to the decay of the grave and comes. In the dimension of matter, the male principle is secondary and under the female. Here lies the justification for gynocracy, the image of the eternal mother and the mortal God that unites herself with the mortal father. She is over many years the same thing. The earth, while the man-plant generations multiply infinitely, the same formidable mother will multiply with the new men.